Hey everyone, it's Suzanne here from Anna's Flowers. I just want to take this time to show everybody how to decorate your entranceway for fall. Using some of the ingredients that we have here at Anna's Flowers, like asters, mums, I have some kale, and pumpkins, of course. So one alternative that we like to do here at Anna's Flowers, instead of just your regular planter, is adding your pumpkins inside of it. It's just a nice little twist on a fall planter. So what I'm going to do here is, first off, I started planting the back of the planter. Here I have a 22-inch round, only because the pumpkin that I chose is really large. You can use any planter size that you have at home, just making sure that your bottom pumpkin is 2 inches smaller than the perimeter of your planter. So here, I used a variety of different asters and kale and mum, as you can see, but I'm eventually going to continue it all the way around the pot. So to get started, to the bottom of this planter I have a mixture of potting soil, and then what I'm going to do in the middle is stack the pumpkins. So what I have here is some pre-cut styrofoam. You can use plastic, you can use wood, just some kind of barrier between the bottom pumpkin and the soil to prevent it from rotting, sinking into the soil, etc. So to prop it up a little bit, I'm going to add a few pieces just to prop up that bottom pumpkin. Then I'm going to add my first layer, being my largest layer of pumpkin. So when picking out your bottom pumpkin, you want, well, any layer of pumpkin, you want to make sure that it's flat. You want to make sure that the stem is cut right off. That way it doesn't puncture the other pumpkin above it. And you want to make sure it doesn't have any soft spots that it could be potentially already rotting. So I have my bottom pumpkin. And then we can continue planting around. So here I already got started, but I'll kind of show you how to do that. So we have lots of different types of kale here at Anna's. This one being a longer, more airy variety. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue around planting. The reason I said to leave a 2-inch gap between the bottom pumpkin and the pot is so that you have room here to plant all the rest of your plants. So here's another version of the aster. A lot of people like to stick to your typical fall colors, but here we have such a beautiful varieties of purples and pinks. It just looks so nice contrasted up against the orange pumpkins. Good to break up the roots a little bit when planting. It just helps the roots establish a little bit better. One thing about kale that a lot of people don't know is throughout the winter, so when you have your fall planter and you want to get rid of all the mums because they'll eventually, or you can plant them in your garden, at the end of the season when you want to take them out of your planters, keep the kale because they will preserve throughout the winter time, and then you can add your greenery around it. And the cool thing about these ones is the colder that the weather gets, they change colors. So for instance, these ones, the center will turn white. If you pick a purple kale, the center turns like a fuchsia pink, kind of more like this color. So now that I've planted the whole perimeter of the planter, I'm gonna continue stacking the pumpkins. So you don't have to, but if you like, if you have like a windy area, you can add little beads of silicone just to keep the pumpkins together. In this case, I'm putting it under a covered porch so I don't need to. So for extra decoration and to give it a little bit of cushion and to make sure that the stem doesn't puncture, I'm going to add a little layer of straw. Makes it look pretty too. In between each layer of pumpkin. Again, making sure that each layer of pumpkin doesn't have any soft spots, that its stems are cut off, that they're nice and clean. And then lastly, your top pumpkin. So you're going to pivot your pumpkins around, make sure that the spot that it was sitting in the soil when it was growing isn't facing forward. Just like that. And then to finish it off, we have bows pre-made here at Anna's Flowers. I'm going to go with a little bit more of a neutral bow. And then what you're going to do, I tied it onto a stick here with wire, is you're going to stick it through a root ball. That way it's harder to get out. The wind won't pull it out. And then make sure your tails are facing down. Some people like to add bows to the top. If you do leave the top stem of the pumpkin, you can add little embellishments. You can add another little bow. The options are endless. So if you already have your planter at home made up and you don't have room to add pumpkins in the middle of it, don't feel like this is the only way to stack pumpkins on your porch. You could stack it next to your planter. You could just do pumpkins. The options are endless. Also, with Halloween coming up, you can paint them black and white. You can add initials. There's so many options that you could do with the pumpkins. They're so fun. Here at Anna's, just outside, we have still a huge selection of pumpkins if you want to come check it out. And we'd love to see what you guys come up with. So feel free to share with us and come on up. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.